Hello everyone, welcome to this new type of video that I've decided to make. So, I recently visited the Bureau of Immigration located at the edge of the historic Spanish fortified city of Intramuros. It was a really gorgeous day to be out of the house before the rainy season kicks into full gear here in the Philippines, and my visit to the BI office turned out to be a super quick time. My wife Chris was staying at home and had some Zoom meetings to attend. She assured me that she would be okay on her own for a while. I normally really try to avoid having her stay alone, since she always needs my help to get around, but since she had everything that she needed within reach and was busy working, I took this opportunity to take a walk through some of the streets in the nearby Chinatown before heading back home. Just outside of the Bureau of Immigration building, there's a really long chain of vendors lining up the streets around the border with the famous walled city. Here, you can find many types of freshly cooked street food, as well as all sorts of snacks. From there, I went back over the bridge to visit Binondo, known as the oldest Chinatown in the world. I typically don't like giving money to homeless people and would prefer to give food instead, but this time I made an exception. In retrospect, I could have just doubled back to one of the food stalls I just passed by and gotten something to eat for that young child and what I had to assume was her parent. I just hope that the little bit of money will go towards some good use. Getting to the middle of that bridge, I noticed that a boat had just passed underneath, which would have been a pretty cool thing to see. But nonetheless, the views of the city from up here are still quite breathtaking in both directions. Now going underneath this ornate arc, I was stepping from one historic neighborhood to another. This neighborhood was established by the Spanish all the way back in 1594 by Chinese merchants who were granted a certain level of autonomy during the early decades of the colonial conquest of the Philippines. As of 2010, there were about 13,000 people living here. Today, however, most of those who I came across seem to be local Filipinos and not many ethnic Chinese. There are of course plenty of Chinese stores and restaurants, but they're also mostly, if not entirely, staffed by local Filipinos, at least in the part of this neighborhood that I passed through. This is very much unlike some of the so-called Chinatown neighborhoods I've seen back in the US. I certainly wouldn't want to be the one working on these cables if something were to go wrong. Besides walking through the main streets, I also wanted to check out this densely populated alley, which is lined up with shops and stalls selling all sorts of food items that can be found here, besides a handful of different kinds of stores. This stall had seriously perfect looking vegetables. These carrots in particular were so orange, they seemed almost to be glowing. Here we get a quick 1-minute look inside this stationery store, which I mostly wanted to share with my mom and anyone else who would like to see it. Here we're passing over another canal leading through Chinatown, and what I call the Machinist alley, where you can find all sorts of components and tools for cars, motorcycles, and presumably many other kinds of mechanical equipment. There's a neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York, not far from where I grew up, which reminds me a lot of this place.
Dis-moi que ça va.
I was really pleasantly surprised when I saw this outdoor pet store. I don't know if I've ever seen this many baby animals on display in one place that attracted some of the passers-by. Good thing that the day wasn't as hot as it sometimes gets in Manila, which would be a really truly inhumane treatment for the pups and kittens bunched up together in these cages. More street vendors here. I don't know if it's something to do with zoning regulations, but here you'll see primarily small electronics and cell phone accessories, as well as some very old computer parts, which look like they've been collecting a lot of dust over the many years that they've been up on display. By now, it was time to make my way back home. I knew that if I were to get a taxi to go home all the way from here, I would be stuck in traffic for a really long time. So, the fastest way to get past at least a good chunk of it is by getting into the rapid transit of the above ground train, which will at least get me a lot closer to Taguig City, where I can then grab a taxi to get me back home. Because I didn't initially intend to use the train that day, I didn't have my transportation pass, so I got a one-way ticket from the kiosk that cost me 20 pesos, or about 40 cents. The LRT line wasn't heavily congested just then, but I have to tell you that during a rush hour, the platforms can get so crowded that several trains might need to pass by before you can finally get on one of them. At least that's how it was before the pandemic started. I'm sure that the regulations are very different right now, and this is the first time that I tried getting on one of these trains before the pandemic began. Restaurants still have fairly strict restrictions on how many people can get inside at one time, so I'm sure that these trains are the same way. Public transportation here in Metro Manila has been getting a lot of investment lately, and here you can see the system being maintained very well. The trains seem to be kept clean and in good condition, so that's very great to see. One thing that I'm particularly thankful for was that the AC was doing a good job at keeping a very pleasant atmosphere. Back in New York City, I would take the train every day to go to and back home from work at the cost of $2.75 each way, which is about 135 pesos or so. Driving to my office and parking my car there was an expensive nightmare, so no matter how noisy and dirty those trains can get, at least it was by far the easiest way to get around the Big Apple. So, at least on this occasion, riding the train was about as smooth and pleasant as it can get. It even looked like I was making some new friends while I was there. Well, if you watched the video all the way to this point, I'd really appreciate it if you could let me know about that in the comment section, because I don't even know if anybody really watches my videos all the way to the end. So congratulations to you. You are one of the few, I guess. But in any case, I would really love to know what you think about it in the comment section. Thanks. And so this is where my journey for this video ends. I hope that you enjoyed this highly unusual video, since this is only the second full 360 VR video that I posted on my channel so far. I would really love to get some feedback about what you thought about it, and if this is the kind of video that you would like to see more from me. So if you did enjoy it, then please hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Always do take care of yourselves and each other, and of course, keep looking out for more videos coming at you from the Time-Lapse Traveler.